Right at the Senate Homeland Security Committee hearing on Tuesday, Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson tore into Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas over the continued surge of migrants crossing the U.S. border. This is a good one, folks. Listen.
1.3 million people. How many people have been returned? How many people are being detained? How many people have been dispersed to all points around America?
Senator, I would be pleased to provide you with that data.
I want them now. Why don't you have that information now?
Senator, I do not have that data.
Why not?
For me.
Why don't you have that basic information?
Great question. Jason Miller joins us now. Jason, thank you for joining us. He was senior advisor to President Trump, and he's the CEO of GETTR. Jason, that interchange right there, why don't they have that number? I mean, they promised every single Haitian was going to be sent back to Port-au-Prince, and it looks like that's nowhere near the case.
No, Eric, you're exactly right. And in fact, the Biden administration doesn't seem to have answers on just about anything these days. I mean, not only do we have 10,000 Haitians that are right at our southern border, they're now starting to be brought into the United States in conditions that are far from humanitarian. We don't know how many are carrying COVID. We haven't done screening on any of these immigrants that are coming in. This is a real concerning situation. And again, it's something that the Biden administration brought on themselves. When Joe got up there on the debate stage and said citizenship for 11 million undocumented folks, that was his clarion call to the rest of the world. If you need a place to go, if you can get into the United States, you're going to stay.
Where do you think they're putting these people? Now, we have two reports from anonymous sources, granted, but they're saying that these people are not being sent back to Haiti. They're being placed within the United States. There are some people who are suggesting it might be sent to red states, and that would play into the theory of potential voters there. I'm not sure of that part of it, but there is no indication that they're being sent back to Haiti. And if it was, I'm sure the Biden administration would let us know that was the case.
Well, that's another great point, Eric, because if something like that were to be happening, we would see this mass mobilization of people. We would see the ships that are being loaded up with people and returned back. But instead, they're being moved to what I'm assuming are probably military bases, maybe some sort of temporary housing. And then I'm sure the Biden administration will start moving them through processing to stay in America permanently. But when this is compounded, both what's happening with Haiti, what's happening with Afghanistan, I think there's a lot of concern around the country on who exactly are we letting in? Have we done the full screening? And I think there are a lot more questions than there are answers.
Jason, I'm going to read a couple of quotes from Jen Psaki, one earlier today, one later today. Quote, the president is horrified when in response to being asked about the situation of these border agents on horses. And then this one, White House won't stand for inhumane treatment of immigrants or migrants, I believe she said. You want to respond to both of those comments?
Well, again, I think the victimization here, people entering our country illegally, at a certain point has to stop. I mean, the fact of the matter is we have to give our law enforcement the tools to go and do their job. I think it's too many of our law enforcement, whether it be Border Patrol, whether it be ICE agents, whether it be police officers inside the United States, are constantly being demonized. And I don't know where the social engineering degree came from for Ms. Psaki, but I think she's wrong.
Jason, final thought here. Yesterday, we heard Chuck Schumer get to a microphone and say, we have to stop the deportation or the return of these Haitian immigrants because this is just part of a failed, what do you call it, a racist? He called it a failed Trump policy, Trump immigration policy. Again, pointing the finger at your old boss.
No, it's they're always looking to try to play the blame game and put everything on President Trump. But the fact of the matter is, and Eric, you've done a great job of covering this, we actually had a secure southern border with President Trump. I mean, Joe Biden stopped construction of the wall before it was all the way finished. They've reversed all these policies, whether it be to reverse remain in Mexico or reinstitute catch and release. I mean, there's some pretty dangerous policies. But again, it all goes back to the top, and there's no leadership at the top. You know, Eric, I used to think that maybe it was the crazed lefties, the Kamala Harris's, the Bernie Sanders, who are really running the White House. Now I think it's actually worse. I think it's nobody is actually running it.
The inmates are running the asylum, as they say. Jason Miller, always good having you here, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.